Hey guys, I wanted to give a few directions on your lab for today. So you should have this handout on the timber lab, so take that out. In this lab, you are going to divide up into groups. You really need at least 3 people in your group to be able to do this well. The procedure under step 1 says 4 people, a lumberjack, a forest manager, and a timer, but you could possibly double up with the forest and the timer, or just have the forest as like the pile of trees laying on the table. So what you need for this lab is you need one of the big stacks of popsicle sticks, and these are already counted out right there in the classroom for you, and then one of the smaller stacks of the popsicle sticks. So this one has 120, this one has 32 craft sticks in it. And so what we're going to do today is we are going to simulate what happens when the demand exceeds the supply. So when we talk about trees, it takes a lot longer for us to plant a tree and for that tree to grow than it does to quickly chop down a tree and be able to use that for whatever we are using that resource for in our environment. So what you're going to do in step 2 in the procedure, it says give 120 craft sticks to the student that's the forest. So again, I said this one could kind of double as the timer, or you could just set the trees down on the table. You probably want to take them out of the bag, but that's going to be one job. Another job is the forest manager, and so they're going to get the smaller stack of 32 craft sticks. And then the third job is the timer. And the timer is going to keep track of the time, and that's really important here. So the lumberjack is the recorder. So on the second page of the handout, you have a data sheet, and the lumberjack is going to help keep track of how many trees are in each spot and how much we're adding and how much we are taking away. So that's kind of the job of the lumberjack, and then everybody else can copy that from the lumberjack's paper at the conclusion of the lab activity. So if you look with me at step 5, it says begin the game when the timer gives the signal. After 15 seconds, the timer tells the forest manager to add another tree to the forest. So the forest manager, once the time starts, every 15 seconds, the forest manager is going to call out and say, add another tree, okay? Or actually, the timer would call that out. Add another tree. And so the forest manager that's holding the popsicle sticks is going to add a tree to the forest bag, okay? 15 seconds passes, you add another one. 15 seconds passes, you add another one. And then eventually you'll get to the minute mark and you add a 4th tree, okay? Now, at the minute mark, you're going to want to pause. It says on step 6, stop at the end of the first minute, okay? And at that point, the lumberjack, who is kind of also the recorder, is going to take 1 tree away from the forest, okay? At the 1 minute mark, he'll take 1 tree away from the forest. So the recorder, can proceed and continue the game. So start the timer back going again. 1 minute and 15 second mark, we are going to put 1 tree back in the forest. That is us planting our tree and growing our tree. 1 minute and 30 second mark, we're going to put another tree back in the forest. 1 minute 45 second mark, another tree. 2 minutes, another tree, okay? Now, at the minute mark, again at the 2 minute mark, the lumberjack is going to cut down more trees. But this time has gone on, the population's bigger, and the demand for wood is greater. And so instead of taking 1 tree this time, he's going to take 2 trees, okay? Take 2 trees out of the forest. And you're going to repeat this simulation for several minutes. I think it's going to go on for, 8 or 10 minutes, something like that, however much space basically is in your chart there. And eventually you're going to run out. So if you keep reading in step 7, it says, at the end of the 2 minutes, you're going to cut down 2 trees. At the end of the 3 minutes, the lumberjack is going to take 4 trees. It's going to double every time, okay? So then 8 trees, then he's going to cut 16 trees, and then 32 trees, and so on and so forth. And so eventually, the demand from the lumberjack, sorry, my phone fell down. The demand from the lumberjack is going to exceed how much the forest manager is actually planting the trees. And so the forest is going to start to run out of trees. And so then you have a few questions about that, and you have a graph to do on that. So the directions should be pretty self-explanatory, but I wanted to do a little video to explain that a little further. When you get finished with your lab, please count the trees back out and put them in the correct numbers, 32 in one rubber band, 120 in the bag, and give that back to the sub so that the next class will be ready to roll with those. And you can go ahead and turn your paper into the sub if you want to, if you finish with that. If not, then you can turn that in tomorrow. Also, you have that interspecies interactions handout to keep working on. So hope you guys have a good day, and I'll see you all tomorrow.